And Pirates, welcome to a special edition of Break Bulk Streaming. Um, Relative to where you guys are, if you've been following through the feed, you just concluded the Teaching Athena Elvish videos. And I have been on so many adventures since then, and adventures with you, Arzen Pirates. You and I have gone on adventures together in my world. Some of the craziest ones I've ever experienced, to be honest. Um, but but that's a version of you from an alternate timeline, right? And I recorded it, so it will show up in the feed after this. But we are in an interesting multidimensional situation where you and I have experienced things that are impossible to express without you seeing them with your own eyes. Um, but here we are. Uh, I suddenly found myself having reason to break back into the past, right? This is my past, right? In the chronological order you are viewing these as I post them, I'm inserting myself into a narrative that has already been established through gameplay. Just to be clear about what's happening here. Um, so there's what I'm saying is there's like 4 or 5 more videos I've already filmed uh, with Athena. Now that she speaks Elvish, we've done some stuff, and I find myself in a situation where I have to commit an act of literary espionage. And fortunately, I have this template before me right now. But one of the things I wanted to mention is that, by the way, there's a story behind that pawn there that you just have to see to believe. Um, that Big Dave guy, but you have to see it. Um, but one thing I figured I should mention uh, now that I'm well underway with writing literary commentary on a video game while using the video game to write literary commentary on the same Western literatures basically that it is analyzing, right? Um, and that's just to throw that out that is the process of that is what literary commentary is, and that's why it's so long and voluminous and and constant, right? Is because it's just literary commentary is a type of it's a literary technology for that occurs when different types of literature meet, and that can happen when different literatures that are contemporaneous or coming from different literary sources like different cultures or civilizations meet, which is this is an example of, and it can happen when literature goes through a technological evolution, right? That's a very good time for literary commentary, as people like Yuan Wu and Wan Song have demonstrated for students of Chan so fluorescently as they did. And so that type of literary commentary, and so it's this kind of you're passing a needle between both the present and the future technology, or both the Japanese and the Western literature, right? Kind of thing. Because this is a piece of Japanese literature I'm inside of. They just gave it, you know, they made it out of their commentary on Western literature, and so I'm picking up their commentary, and I'm coming right back with the needles I carry, which Western literature, Chinese literature, and folklore, right? Let's just say those 3 threads I'm bringing in here, those 3 needles, and then I'm stitching my literary commentary along in this game, and I'm stitching it right along that border of between literature itself and video games, right? And that's the thing is the video game literature is actually the one of the future that's really important, and that's why this video has the name it has, Confessions of a YouTuber. Because one of the rather funny things I did uh, for the past like 4 years or so, 4 years or so, something like that, I very consistently was creating literary commentary on Chinese texts on a daily basis. Like, so I put out a lot of commentary over like a 3 year, 3.5 year span or something like that. And one of the things I did in the forum I was posting in was because I was a hermit coming from the woods who'd read from books and had been unplugged for a very long time. Was I started making fun of, because obviously all these 20 and 30-year-olds. I was in a community that studied Zen texts, and like the corporatists in there, like the 20 and 30-year-olds, millennials and Zoomers and stuff from like American educational systems, basically start reading a Zen text, and then they think they're Zen masters and want to prove they're Zen masters and claim they're Zen masters and stuff like that. And so I just would routinely point out that the people who got their educations from there had all basically been self-educated on YouTube, and they were literate people, you know. Um, but like the actual text, like a lot of those people hadn't actually sat down and read through the whole books of things, and they certainly hadn't read the history, like the contextual fabric that those Zen communities were in medieval China, which is like a key area of interest of mine, right? But I would poke fun of them constantly for being YouTubers, and I would call it Urube, like R-U-B-E, Urube, and I would put a trademark symbol on it, uh, just to be funny, you know. And I thought that was pretty successful. Um, and then that's the thing, is that once I decided to make this transition and actually take my literary commentary into the new literature, which I'm provided the opportunity to do, and to do in public even, right? Yeah,
When the
Reddit.
mind is split, the heart must lead. Oh, so I've learned.
That's good. You have learned that, Athena. You have learned that, and so I've been provided the opportunity to be standing at this exact moment. It's so rare. Like how unique is that I get to stand right at the cusp of these technologies, and the overall change we're going through in civilization all at once. And well, that's the thing, is when those changes happen, it basically is like that, isn't it? Right? Which is why the literature from the past times of like this looks like it does, you know. Um, but so that's the thing, and it was funny because I spent so much time like making fun of, a digital generation that had largely been self-educating on books and podcasts and stuff, um, because where else are they going to get actual education um, these days? So I spent such a huge amount of time doing that by the time I stopped writing commentary in that forum, because they're going on to different types of literary study themselves, and not ones that would, you know, they weren't going the direction of literature. I'll just put it that way, which is fine. It's a public forum. There's a lot of users who like what they're doing there, you know. Um, but it was funny because one of the users there, who's one of these younger people, and he even had a username based on a video game, I think. Uh, and I was asking him some questions, poking fun of him, and I said I was going to do some research. I was working up some content on video games, I told him, and he goes, "Well, I look forward to your takedown," or whatever, because after everything I've been saying about corporatists and the internet users who think they're Zen masters and they're just a bunch of gamers, all this stuff like that. Of course, they thought I was about to go like attack gaming or gamers or something. But I was a gamer, and my video gaming was in remission for 20 years is all, right? So I kind of chuckled when he said that. And so this is what happened when I decided I have to study the literature of video games. And I have a good background, like from when I was younger, my late teens and early 20s. I got good exposure to understand them as a literary and economic product, right? But then, when I had to catch up, so I missed 20 years of gaming, and I have to research the actual literature that's out there. And one thing I already knew is that most of the games coming out of Wall Street were crap, so it wasn't a big deal. And I'd sampled a couple. When I had an opportunity, I sampled a couple games over the years, so I had a good view of like a one window. Like I know what I saw a couple of video games in like 2009, and I saw a couple of video games in like 2016 or something like that, or 2017 maybe, something like that. And like got to play a couple, right, real briefly, but it was enough to stick my head in the door, right? But then when I'm sitting down as a literati, who I research, if I'm working on content, I'm working on that content for like a year, right? Because the process of literary commentary is like that. You look at everything you have, you go over everything you've read before, you restudy it, you look at the new text you're looking at, You research its history, you research its economic history, you research its cultural history and impact, right? All of that. And so that's when I became a YouTube user and actually paid premium last fall, because there is no written history of video games yet. There's nowhere to read that, right? I have to go back and look at the commentaries of content creators who are making literary commentary on their video games, you know, because that's the type of entertainment product they're doing, is good literary commentary on the art objects they enjoy, they enjoy the same way that all of their fans enjoy them, right? And so the people who come to watch those have had the same literary experiences of those video games, right? And creative experiences, right? I'm not saying, right, so they share the experience of these books, and then the content creators are the ones who are very good at describing that experience, pointing out the the function of it, the mechanisms of it, where the fun comes from, where it gets, where the fun, something, where Wall Street gets in front of the fun, all this stuff. That's what they're doing, and so there's this giant body of recorded commentary on video games. And when I quit, like, streaming wasn't a thing. I've never even watched a live stream once, right? But now I went back and I've seen what it looks like and what it's like because of it being documented on video that I can check out on YouTube. And so I spent like the last winter doing a lot of research on just the progress of video games, particularly through the American economy and American cultural sphere, right? Um, and yeah, so I'm just confessing, I became a YouTuber, and now I'm even posting these videos on YouTube because I'm a Vimeo creator. That's where my literary commentary, when I make videos that are outdoors and I do it on film, it goes on Vimeo because I'm an artist. That's where it goes. But my PlayStation uploads directly to YouTube, and now that I'm making literary commentary on video games, 50% of the audience I'm aiming at is the video game audience, and the commentary, just like the content creators that I'm now I'm emulating. The commentary is largely about playing the game and how to play the game, right? Like, my angles and my approaches might be different, and I might be bringing a little different of a literary tool set when I look at this and how it functions. But I'm a gamer who's learning to play a game, right? And so that's a big part of this commentary. And see, I'm in an awesomely hilarious position where there's really only one audience that one could even pretend would be interested in my videos, and that's an audience that is interested in literature and literary commentary on literature, and who are video gamers who are interested in content on video games. And I only know 0 people other than myself and maybe one other person in that Venn diagram of those two things, right? Which is funny, but I want to explain that. So if you stumble in here having followed any of my content in the past that was all text-based and based on texts, you're gonna have to see a bunch of boring shit about video game play. And there was even one user who just stopped commenting in Ours and Pirates already once I started doing video game clips, and he made a comment that, the basic "they're from the devil" comment kind of thing. Um, and then I can't really imagine how many gamers there would be interested in listening to me go on about literature inside of a video game while I play the video game very poorly, right? So I'm just saying that I'm aware of my audience, right? But it is this process of being here to make this literary commentary. It's just where I'm standing. Well, I'm actually sitting. Literati are pretty lazy. We work real hard while we're sitting, though. You wouldn't even believe. Um, that's why I walk a lot. I made my life all about walking for several years, just because as a writer, you have to do that. You have to absolutely have to do that, in my opinion. But anyway, so I'm getting my socks off so I can get more comfortable. Oh yeah, Parrot's asleep. She goes to bed early because the sun's up all day and she's up and active. In the winter, she stays up at all hours of the night because she only gets 4 days of sunlight anyway, and we have UV lights on. for her. So anyway, I wanted to throw that.
Say, weren't we tasked with another errand that sent us somewhere near here?
You're right.
Shall
We
we
should
head
do it.
there now? Save us having to make the trip again.
We'll do that. We'll do that next. Okay. But you're right. So I wanted to point that out after those the series of videos where we taught Athena Elvish, and then I'm already aware of some videos coming up ahead of us that are some of the best literary commentary I've ever been able to make. And that's the thing about literary commentary is when I say it's the best I've ever been able to make, what I'm saying is that the literatures, like this piece of literature that I'm in my commentary is largely on Dragon's Dogma 2, right? And then this is how I'm learning to do commentary in front of people before I tackle projects that I have been researching and mapping out and planning for 9 months now, right? So I wanted to come have that little conversation and point at the fact that, well, literary commentary is underway. If there's a literary commentary audience, they're probably bored at the video game playing parts. And if there's a video game audience that ever comes in here, this is why this looks like it does. And especially at the beginning as I'm working things out. And I don't know what it'll look like down the road in the future. All I know is I'm going to keep on doing this for as long as I can, right? Because this is the real work of the Renaissance I've already been in for 20 years. And I already started planning and pulling these threads and working on this literary. I wanted to be able to make this literary commentary if I live this long, right? And I have, right? And so I just feel fortunate to be on the planet Earth right now. And if there are any viewers watching this, I'm fortunate to have even one viewer. And if I don't have one viewer, I'm fortunate enough to have the tools where I can record the videos and save them. And, you know, maybe some of my nephews are going to become famous content creators and they'll be able to look back in the family vault someday and be like, oh man, you know, right before whatever happened in 2025 happened, our uncle was throwing down literary commentary on Dragon's Dogma 2 and Baldur's Gate 3, those games everyone's still been talking about for 20 years. You know? Right? And this is the thing that gamers are going to grok on a better level, is I've been telling to the people I met through my literary studies that we're in a renaissance. It's active and underway. And there's a new literature coming out that is spreading like wildfire around the globe, right? That's what I've been saying. And there's some very simple things about video games to point at that show how true this is. Like, for example, you know, as much as games have been demonized and are demonized still today, they're just demonized like crazy. You know, like one of the interesting things to see about the content creators is they've been able to tackle Wall Street corruption as artists because they're like, this is what's going on with the game. We've all played these games. This part of the game doesn't work well, and it's because these companies are stupid, right? And then the corporate employees all start pretending that they're political extremists, and the gamers are just louder and louder going, no, what we are saying is we want you to sell us products that do not suck. We only care about the games. We don't care about your politics, right? And then, and that is an effective strategy. They've been able to take on Wall Street more effectively than any other demographic in America that I'm aware of. And they're doing it right now today, and it's brilliant to watch. You know, and that's because there's a lie at the heart of this whole thing. The lie in the Wall Street domain is that art isn't profitable. And they keep saying that despite the fact that our new art objects called video games are the most profitable thing in the environment, in our economic environment, that doesn't involve murdering anybody. Right? I mean, pharma makes more money and the military industrial complex makes more money, but otherwise, can you find something that makes more money than these art objects? No, you fucking can't. Right? So that's a lie. Right? And then so we see that they start out with a lie about art not being economically viable, and then they try to hide the fact that this economically viable thing that everyone in your society likes isn't art. No. It's addictive. It's an addictive drug. That's what it is. That's why people like it. Just look at these guys. They yell at corporate employees. They call corporate employees stupid in public. That isn't very nice. That sounds a lot like political extremism, doesn't it? And like, I don't think the mainstream's buying it anymore, you know, and maybe a good portion of the mainstream did for a long time, right? But these are art objects. The players who play them are enjoying the entertainment and artistic qualities of these products. They're enjoying the literary contents of these products that are new, and they're so revolutionary that it's like the printing press had nothing on what this is. You know, they have nothing on this. Just like every time there's a huge technological leap, right? This is nothing new. The phenomenon, right? But that's one of the lies that's hidden deep at the heart of Wall Street, right where everyone can see it, right? And I think it's so cool to be here at this time when I can just say that in a video game. And you know what? If there are gamers in here who came in somehow and saw some game content, I don't know how likely that is, but if there are, they're going to know what I'm talking about. You know, and we've been able to see, because I've caught up in kind of the. I haven't gone out and watched anything because there's a lot of dumb shit I'm not interested in, especially like high level competitive type gaming. When especially the thing once something goes over to looking for the meta, right? There's a reason I took 20 years off of games. Let me put it that way, right? I was waiting for good games to come back, you know. And that's definitely been happening, you know. But anyway, one thing that gamers have been able to see, and I say we when I said that, is that content creators have been very effectively to actually reach out through the community of people who enjoy this new art and help people understand like how good it is and why their products are being treated like they're being treated, and why they've been preyed upon by shitty capitalists, right? Like that whole thing where they say, oh, capitalism means you have to go for the highest profit. That's also, well, I mean, the profit part is right. The lie in that is they say things like, well, you have to have microtransactions all over the place and blah, 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 and ads all over your stupid websites no one would ever read anymore, because that's what capitalism will always do that. It's like, no. What's happening here is that those people are lying to themselves and saying it is profitable in the long run to sell all of our consumers up the river, right? So instead of making you a sequel to Diablo, and I was never a Diablo player, but I've kind of followed along. Instead of making you a sequel to Diablo, we're going to give you a steaming pile of shit that's designed to trick people into buying stupid shit.
Efficiency is not the only factor worthy of consideration.
That's an interesting point, Gandalf. And it's also true. It's also true, Gandalf. Although I'm a big efficiency expert, I think it's pretty good. Instead of making a sequel to Diablo, they made a flashy object full of booby traps for dumb people, and then they sold it and marketed it to people who aren't gamers and don't have time to actually explore the game. And then they put the Diablo name on it. And then they say, well, that's just what the Wall Street capitalist bosses want us to do because that's what they get profits from. And it's like, well, actually, that's a lie. Because they've just set up this kind of house of cards, but it is obviously not profitable in the long run to screw over your consumers. It is not profitable in the long run to take an existing base of consumers who love your art object called Diablo 2 and then to screw them over publicly as a cash grab so all your execs and stockholders can get all the money out of that company right before it goes down. Because you're right. It's profitable for a very small number of investors and basically all finance people in Wall Street. That's true. They get money in yachts and stuff. But that is not a profitable way to run a company. That's a lie. If you're going to pretend that's a profitable way to run a company, like your company's going to fail. And then we already know the process. It gets bought up by a behemoth, and then they use the name to milk out the last drops of it, and then it's gone. But at any point, when they start going as one company, like Blizzard did, that we have to do this because this is capitalist profit, even that part is a fucking lie, because they're lying about what is actually profitable long term, and they're lying about where those profits are going. You know, if the company is being governed for the profit of the shareholders of that company, they don't do things that ruin the future profits of that company. They would make good products that people want to buy, right? But when the profits are really for basically a bunch of Wall Street robber barons who go in, do takeovers, cash their things out, do payouts, buy stock buybacks while they have the shares, you know, they're literally sucking the profits out of the game industry and taking them into their own bank accounts. And that money should be going to creators who make good video games, right? And I'm not capitalism is what we have, so I think we should do it the way that it's supposed to work and try to make the best of it, right? Like, I don't criticize what Wall Street is doing from the basis of being against capitalism. I'm doing it from the basis of it's really easy to make fun of corruption, and putting it in your content is a really good way to make your content efficient. And now we're going to commit some video game espionage. Again. All right, Big Dave. There's my crew. And, oh, my contact is at work. Oh, my race maker just finished. I'll have to open up and let it cool a bit. That's right. I prepped myself so I would have, because first of all, it's spring and it's been a really long sunny day, so I'm actually pretty tired, and I'm just drinking tea to actually be able to film, which is fine, you know. But I've got my fuel ready. I got some rice here because I'm going to need it to get through this espionage tonight. Because this is something that, as a student of literature, Western literati are already trained in how to commit espionage on medieval kingdoms that are suffering dragon incursions. And the proof in the pudding is going to be seeing that Japanese artists were able to read Western literature and come up with this story. Whatever it is, I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's already set up perfectly, right? Oh, he's still not here. See us slacker gamers. I'm just hanging out at the bar all day long with nothing else to do. You know, ready to get all this work done at night. Here we go. All right, Brant. So this guy, you know, he's aware that there's corruption at the top of the secular authority, the secular government. As are apparently many people who've been suffering from it, and he wants to use us as an agent, and so we can work together to right things in the kingdom, right?
There is much we ought to tend to, if we are to strengthen your majesty's claim as a true arisen.
That's the part where I'm always a little bit like, well, like the whole I'm the arisen thing and the rightful ruler of the kingdom, this is an interesting innovation. So the quest we're trying to do is Tell Me of the Magistrate, but I have to do Tell Me of the Queen Regent quest first to acquire an outfit. And so I pre-researched that because I don't want my Arzon Pirates users to get really bored while an idiot tries to figure out how to do this.
The palace to gather evidence of Deeza's misdeeds. I hesitate to ask something so dangerous of you.
Oh, infiltrating palaces is right up my alley. I mean, you know, Cervantes in Don Quixote, you know, he dresses up like a knight and goes around talking about how you can't be a real knight unless you meet a princess and like work for her and stuff like that. You know, well, he goes around acting like a knight and then just getting the crap beat out of him by all the peasants and middle class and robbed, and some people are nice and help him too because there's lots of nice peasants out there. But he does that until a bunch of actual aristocrats find him interesting and I mean, everything, it all happens. He does infiltrate the palace. In fact, Sancho becomes mayor of a town for a while. Or maybe he wanted to be a duke, but I mean, the role he was given was mayor, right? But so like Cervantes is already, we can figure out how to get to the palace, right? Let's see what they came up with.
I have attempted to do the same through my own channels afore now, though I have yet to uncover so much as a whisper of her plots.
There might be a reason for that.
I could undertake the task myself, but my station prohibits me from reckless action. What say you, Your Majesty? Might I ask this task of you?
Oh yeah.
I shall ensure that the door to the Queen Regent's office is open between midnight and dawn. Pray use that time to conduct your investigation.
Sounds good. Oof. Do any of my pawns have this quest as their quest?
Shall we make for Burnworth?
Oh, I can't take my pawns anyway. Yep, he does. Gandalf is going to lead us on the... You see that? Gandalf is leading us on our espionage mission. That was pretty good. I was about to say, well, you see the freedom they give the player to bring their own literary experience and talents to the literary study of this work, but all literature is like that, because when you read the book, the literary tools you have are the ones you've given yourself, right? Do you know what would happen if some YouTuber showed up at my house and wanted to do a read through of Dante's Comedy with me and discuss it every day? Things would happen. Things would definitely happen.
We cannot accompany you there, Master, but fear not. You'll find us here when you return.
Good. I don't even need pawns for this.
You are the Arisen, yes?
Oh, geez, they make it easy.
Follow me.
I like it that it's a queen regent that's gone bad in this one. You know?
Should one of the other guards espy you,
Oh.
I will be forced to play my part.
Well, you're just gonna abandon me in the garden? Or I'm probably supposed to go right in here, huh? Oh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Ignore the bow. You do not see a bow on my back. Maybe I should I can't switch out to a sword because I'm an archer. That was fun. That's the kind of challenge that Robin Hood would have had to face back in the day, though. He'd be like, you know what? I'll just keep the bow on, and these guys won't even notice. Okay. So there is another build. Well, I can walk around now. How do I look, baby?
'Tis best you move along. Should one of the other guards espy you, pray be cautious.
Oh, fine. I get it. Robin Hood would have done exactly what I did, though. Don't fucking lie. I don't know. Oh, this is not where I have to go. Or is it? Is that room inside of here?
I must ask you to leave this place at once.
Oh, yep, fine. I don't have a special pass or something. That's fine. I'm like... That does look like that, but... Maybe this is a... Oh, that's very true. Actually, the sage is not discerning with coin at all. Let's see what a noble says to a guard. Hey, buddy.
Know your place.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. I'm just the hired help. I forgot. Thought I was a human in here for a second.
Don't look to me to solve this.
Yeah, I gotta think like a stormtrooper here. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Or act like what I mean. Okay. Oh, yay. Got some branches and bark so far. Been very successful spy. Honestly, I wouldn't want to live here. I think I get a little of this. Landscaping is not my style here. I bet they feel rich though. It's like there's actual ruins all over your country that are way nicer to just camp in than to come into this fake little place.
I cannot afford another night of cavorting.
I wonder if he meant economically or emotionally. Maybe I had to go through the guardhouse somewhere and I didn't see a door. Because I don't pay attention to everything that's in front of me all the time. Yep. There we go. I'm going to try to steal everything that isn't nailed down. Oh, you know what? I think the pawns found their found what they were waiting for by the riftstone, buddy. Say, it's a pretty good hunch. Okay. What the fuck? Can someone stop confusing me? Oh, perhaps it is upstairs. See, this is what happens when a forest person gets in a castle. This is so realistic. I've been living in this game for like, you know, hours and hours and hours. Out in the woods. Okay. Guest chambers. Oh my. See, this is the thing. I'd rather be talking to someone from the outside the window. Like on the... Oh, look at that. Nice. I'm gonna go give that to some peasant. Good luck. Make your fortune. All right. There we go.
Who's there?
Oops. Oh, I already know this kid. I'm his only friend. I'm already that kid's only friend. He was sneaking out of the castle to try to get real experiences, like a young Shakyamuni, and he wanted to buy an object that would just be his, and he couldn't sneak out with gold, and so he asked me to buy it for him, and I bought it for him, and just gave it to him, and he said, and then he pulled this thing where, oh, I'll pay you back some other time, you know, thanks, and runs off. But then he would come to the fountain and sit. And be like, and then I would just go sit with him, and he would be like, oh, I knew you would come if I sat here long enough. And then he would be like, here's the first payment I owe you back for the object I bought him. And then he would tell me about his experiences, you know, wanting to see the real world and that kind of thing. You know, it's like, well, geez, here I am, you know, here I am just hanging out by the fountain, and little Shakyamuni's sticking his nose out from behind the portcullis for the first time, right? But I don't know if that's how it's going to turn out, because this is a different world than the one that guy lived in. I'm just saying that history is a cyclical thing, and that's why if you don't read it, you repeat it, because you're in a cycle that's repeating, right?
Pray, keep your voice low. It wouldn't be good for either of us if someone was summoned to come check on me.
No sweat, kid. And it's not my fault I'm his only friend. He chose me and picked it out, right? I wasn't trying to manipulate my way into this castle. That's a good call, Sven.
Aye, Disa is my mother. Pray forgive me for not telling you sooner.
You know what, Sven? I have read Greek literature, and just because of what the guards were telling me, I could see that the Hera archetype might come into play. And it's interesting that we have an archetype in the Greek literature that shows us Hera becoming an insane tyrant when she gets so mad at Zeus that she's trying to kill anything associated with Zeus, for example. You know, Agamemnon doesn't come home to a hero's welcoming. He comes home to a bathtub. Right? Once the parade's outside, you still are coming home all the way to the bathtub when you come home. Right? And it's in the literature. And so we've seen it different times in like the mythos shows us like a range of stories that happen. And so they show that archetype in different places. So if Sven is in this situation, I'm like, well, we don't lack a basis for this archetype anyway. But just in case there's any corporatists out there who want to call me a sexist, I'll admit that the archetype, the personality archetype that represents me pretty good is the Hephaestus one. And he doesn't like his mom, Hera, because she threw him out of Olympus. You know, but that archetype is also not the son of Zeus. He's not the Zeus thing either. Right? So, and I just want to point out that I'm allowed to criticize the Hera archetype and point out that Sven is clearly suffering some trouble. Hopefully we'll solve this in a very successful way, though. But I'm allowed to notice the Hera archetype that has gone awry and point it out without being a sexist, because I don't have reason to criticize the other 5 women in the Olympians, right? Because remember, it's pretty equal. It is pretty equal, right? And don't blame me about the guy at the head of the table. I'm not a part of that. I got kicked out of this place just because of my personality, right? You know. So I mean that literally. I left the mainstream world and I came and I lived on the edge of the forest because I didn't want to be a part of that. You know. But that doesn't mean I can't criticize Hera when she's running amok. You know. And I feel that Demeter, Aphrodite, Athena, Artemis, who am I missing here? And Persephone don't mind. Right? I feel they don't mind. Right? It's one big family. Right? All right. All right, Diza, what's going on with the Queen? The Queen Regent in this one. Unfortunately, the medieval setting of this game is nowhere near as gender equal as the Greek civilization was.
It was never my intent to deceive you. I simply feared that if I spoke the truth, none would wish to involve themselves with me.
Fair enough. I'm not sure you really deceived me as much as you thought, Sven.
But that is no longer a concern. It is clear that we are allied in purpose.
Well, maybe the dragon's making it all seem this way, Sven, so I appreciate your enthusiasm, but you know, let's just all make sure that we're proceeding in a way that is good for the peasants in this country, because that's why this conversation is occurring.
My word.
Because what's good for the peasants is good for everybody else.
That the sovereign currently residing in the palace is a pretender.
Well, that wasn't my idea. That was the idea of the writers of this video game. But sure, Cervantes is the rightful Arisen.
Could Mother have had a hand in that as well?
You know what? We're going to let you work that one out for us, and not the other way around.
Regent King Sven appears to be missing from his chambers. Have you seen him?
Me? No, sir.
They call him Regent Kin?
Then start searching, you fool. Should aught befall the Regent Kin, 'tis us who'll answer to her grace.
You know who Sven reminds me of? Really nice, liberal and progressive video gamers, right? Who do want to see representation because they think of and treat everyone equally. And they don't want to be in a game that, you know, isn't as dynamic as their actual society. I think those people are Sven. Let's see if we can help them out too. Because they should get good video games, because this shit's like fucking crack. That's right. If anything happens to Sven, you guys pay for it. Keep that in mind.
Forgive me. My absence seems to have made this rather more difficult for us. You ought leave the palace at once.
Dude, I'm dressed like a guard, man. Have you seen this bow?
This room turned up little of interest.
He
But
hasn't
I've
been
a
reading
mind to
enough.
look into this further. I shall send word to Captain Brandt if I discover aught you should know.
Okay, that works. We'll do it at the medieval pace.
I'll
This
head
way
out
Sven
south
can
and
learn it
speak
on
with
his
the
own
sentinels.
as
Use
he
the
hopefully
opportunity
becomes
to
the
make
rightful
good your
ruler.
escape.
Although in a dragon scorched world where everyone's already telling me I'm the ruler, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. He'd make a good aristocrat for sure in the realm. See, remember, I live in the elven thing, so to me, this is all like, well, how can we help the humans work out their little psychodrama?
Forgive me. I couldn't sleep. I thought a stroll might clear my head.
He's a good actor. You have to remember that the soldiers are trained to take everything that someone who speaks like he speaks as like authority. So it's a good opportunity for him to be able to learn how to act well, I would think. All right. So now we can do what I was interested in doing. Oh wait, what do I have to do here? Oh, I have to report. Let's report to Brandt. We'll get it out of the way, make sure we don't screw it up. And in a game like this, you can screw something up, and like, I don't want to do that. There's nothing wrong with a late night extended literary espionage session. I've been doing it my whole life. You want to go to parties? That's what I do. You know what I do at parties? I try to locate the other book lover and then have I try to usurp the party's intended function so I can have conversations about literature. It's true. Am I even going the right way? No. Yes, I am. That's a door right in front of me. That's why the map's like that. Like I said, bear with me.
Good to see you, Master.
Oh, hey guys. You wouldn't believe how easy that was. And I got a free suit of armor. Who am I going to give it to? I'm going to start loading up low-level pawns and giving them crazy stuff. You can just do that. You can just do that. How funny is that? Let's do it right now. Let's celebrate how easy espionage is. This is how easy Robin Hood has gotten. Dun 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 dun.
This ladder looks
Oh,
sturdy
well,
enough
I'd have to
climb.
dismiss one of my
After
pawns.
you were risen.
Let's do this though. Let's make a game of it, shall we? Since we have the opportunity, because I could just favor. It's not like I'm going to lose my pawn. And plus, you watching this chronologically, you don't know what's going on with the Big Dave pawn, but I do, and it is fucking awesome. But we will take. You know what? We might be better off. We might be better off sending Gandalf home. And taking Big Dave, and he's a thief. Big Dave's going with us. Gandalf, we don't need your particular talents.
And prefer to remain by your side. In battle, I shall
Dude.
follow your lead and prioritize support.
He has not left my party since I got him. You, Gandalf, are awesome.
Should
Oh.
your pack grow over full, have no fear.
Kitty's
I'll
pretty
run
good
your
because
low
that's a famous character from Anna Karenina. Oh, now I'm thinking about the literary application. Let me do what I'm doing here. I'm already over. I'm mapping over Anna Karenina's plot with the literature we're in, and I'm seeing
Pray
how good
have
that is.
Patience with me, Master. I've shared all I know.
Can't I gift something to him? I'm gonna check out if I can gift it out here. I don't know if I might not be able to just gift.
I know of nothing that demands your immediate notice.
Okay, so the way I can do it is by putting it on the gear on him. So he's got the clothes he came with. What can I I don't think he takes his inventory, but he might. I already gifted him a hat and the cloak. Oh, that's right. He hasn't even taken those home yet. So he can just take those home. All right. All right, Gandalf. I already gave you a gift and I forgot about it. My memory's so bad. I'm sure you understand. You just look so much more like Gandalf with the gifts I gave you that I couldn't figure out what was going on.
serve you, Arisen?
Goodbye, Gandalf. We'll let's see what would Gandalf actually enjoy the most. I'm thinking it's probably a ripened quince. But I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna save the life of his owner once. That is a high order gift.
I shall recall our travels every time I take this piece in hand.
Good. All right. Now, just to show how easy espionage is, we're gonna get a level 7 pawn. Nope. And we're gonna send them home with a bunch of armor. We're gonna go outfit them. We'll see who's got the best name. I got some generic names. Oh, oh boy. That's tempting. Virgil's okay. Oh, I kind of like Drake. You know what? I think Drake might have just gotten in just for giving me the Sir Francis Drake illusion. No, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. All these names are too generic. Sorry, level 7s. For whatever reason, you just weren't bringing it. Someone's got to stand out. It's hard to stand out with level 7 armor, so really the name is all we got to go on. Oh. I kind of like Philomena. Jeff. Thor's fun. I'm still not feeling it. You gotta get the right. If you don't feel the pawn, you know. Can I say I'm picky? But this is for the gamers in here. This is how you play it. You do what you want to do. It's great that the Dragon's Dogma 2 creators gave us so much interesting. So much interesting technology to work with, right? Sapphire is kind of fun. Astrid, that's fun. At this level, we should be able to see maybe a hint of style somewhere. Oh, I like that name. These are some good names, but I just had a better idea. We're gonna help a young archer. Nero. Yeah. A lot could be said about Nero. Ooh. Fang won.
Should you wish to pick your foes off from afar, you need look no further than an archer such as I.
That's true. And that is a stylish looking pawn, is it not? I approve of the shots. No augment. Well, they're only level 11. I forgot. That's the whole point. This is a lobby. All right.
If ever you've need of an ear to listen, you have but to ask.
All right, and we just got our 5-minute warning because I can only do up to an hour-long videos. That helps. That's fine because of the upload too, though. Oh, no, we don't need this. All right, so the first half of our espionage mission has been finished, and you can go to the next video. In the feed in order will be the second part, and then after that, you're in for a fucking ride. I'll tell you what. All right, we'll come down here by the fountain.
There's a ladder here.
And just hit stop and start.
Perhaps new discoveries await us above.
Thanks for watching. If you don't go on to video 2.